Today I'm writing a new chapter in my not so long running series of I'm so glad these things even exist. We have something as unique and slightly bonkers as a classic dive watch with long history and pedigree that sports something as unique and highly specialized as a tourbillon movement. So it's not just a significant achievement of making a movement like this, but also the wonderfully French we do what we want by inserting this into their classic Superman design. The only other significantly similar approach that I know of is the Blancpain 50 Fathoms watch, and whilst this Superman is not cheap, it's about 10% of our Blancpain charges for their one. So here's the deal. With the new Superman Tourbillon CMM31, Yema is kicking off a fresh era of millésime editions, basically a yearly drop that shows off everything they're capable of. Millésime is Yema's way of saying this is the top shelf stuff. These pieces are handcrafted, super limited to 100 only, and packed with all the skill and tradition of French watchmaking. And for 2025, they've gone back to their most iconic model, the Yema Superman. It first came out in 1963 as a serious dive watch, but now it's been completely reimagined with their partner-manufactured tourbillon movement. So think modern innovation, high-end finishing, and the same rugged tool watch spirit that made the original famous. And Yema assures us that this movement is rugged enough to stand up to dive watch antics. These movements are a photographer's wet dream, and I can't wait to show you more. I hope you stick around for it. The packaging is just that ever so slightly upgraded version of, to be honest, Yema's usual great efforts in this department. A nice branded cardboard box with a dark wood case that reveals a plush little house for the watch and a nice little detail of French flags that you pull up on to get to the warranty card and presumably manual on the retail version. Very nice. Tourbillon watches are often a bit larger, possibly in part to fit all the components and also, no doubt, to show off all these components too. We are looking at a 43mm diameter and 50mm lug to lug. Lug width is 22mm and it's 13.3mm thick. Water resistance is 200 meters, and on this bracelet it weighs in at 120 gram. For ultimate peace of mind, we get a 5-year warranty. Now I don't want to go straight to the reason we're here, so let's check out the dial details first. A grainy black finish is classic utility dive watch. It's pretty much the same applied indices that I remember from the normal Superman model. And that large minute hand, that is what divers would use at time when you're submerged, is easy to see. The normal printed logo and model name sits under the 12, and hats off for resisting turning everything into a Superman, but sticking to the inspiration of the original. I did notice one small blemish on the indice that, to be honest, I would not be happy with in the price range, but this is an early prototype for reviewers. So the tourbillon was invented way back in 1795 by the French watchmaking legend Abraham Louis Breguet. It's basically a super fancy mechanism you would only find in high-end mechanical watches, and it was originally designed to make them more accurate. The idea is pretty wild. The balance wheel, hairspring, escape wheel, and a few other key parts all sit inside a little rotating cage. That cage spins a full 360 degrees every minute. By constantly moving, it helps cancel out the effects of gravity and reduces accuracy issues that happen when a watch sits in one position for too long. It's one of those features that really show off serious watchmaking skill. Only a handful of manufacturers can actually pull off making a proper tourbillon. This one even packs some serious anti-magnetic protection and shock resistance. It also has a 4-day power reserve and beautifully decorated bridges and wheels, which I'll get to shortly. Adjusted in 6 position, the CMM31 ensures an accuracy of -3 to +7 seconds per day. The 60-second tourbillon cage has its own sweeping seconds hand, so you get this super hypnotic little kinetic show happening on the partially open dial. It's one of those watches you keep staring at even when you don't need to check the time. There's so much more to read and talk about with this movement, and Yema do a great job on the landing page if you do want to read more. I'll put the link in the description. One more thing I want to mention is the beautiful ticking sound these movements make. It's very distinct and I love it. The unidirectional die bezel features a high quality domed ceramic insert with a 0 to 60 graduation. A 2.10mm double dome sapphire crystal ensures excellent legibility and vintage inspired depth. It's an incredibly good bezel action, way better than I've handled from other Yema watches, and they've gone the extra mile here for sure. The case and bracelet are made from grade 5 titanium, which is kind of the sweet spot. Super strong, really light, and super comfortable on the wrist. It's tougher and more corrosion resistant than regular titanium, so it holds up amazingly well in rough conditions. And it's also hypoallergenic, which is great for everyday wear. They've also given us some really nice finishing touches. Vertical brushing with polished bezels that bring out the shape of the watch and show off just how high-end this material really is. The crown is screw down, signed and very easy to use, which trust me you can't take for granted with all watches, but it is of course extra important here with a manually wound movement. Flip the watch over and you get a sapphire exhibition caseback that lets you see the movement in action from another angle. You can really take in the unique layout and you get this mesmerizing little show that watch nerds like us can stare at for way too long. The bridges and wheels are all finished to a really high standard. Microblasted surfaces, brushed bezels and clean chamfered edges that catch the light beautifully. Every part is decorated with real intention, and it makes the whole movement look like a tiny piece of architecture. It's not just about accuracy, these details show the level of artistry and skill that goes into every millisecond movement Yema releases. They really have come a long way. The still newish Yema Scale Slim bracelet is made from grade 5 titanium. Same material, same brush finish as the case. So everything matches perfectly. It's super light but still really tough, and the slimmer profile makes it comfortable for everyday wear. It adds both durability and a clean, refined look, and it just sits really naturally on the wrist. They've also added a new clasp with on-the-fly adjustment. This is fairly rudimentary, and I certainly wouldn't want an extender for any other time other than wetsuit wear. Screw-in adjustments all around, and reasonably easy access to the spring bars means all okay to adjust yourself. Does it look good on strap options? Let's have a look. The BGW9 Lume is added to the usual spots, and a nice surprise one also. Over the last few years, Yema has really doubled down on bringing more of its production in-house and stepping up the quality of everything it makes. They've invested in new equipment, expanded their workshops, and modernized their production lines to keep things tight and consistent. All the parts for the Tourbillon movement, plus the case, dial and hands, are made in France and Switzerland, all within 72 kilometers or more tour where they're based. It's a small network of skilled watchmaking craftsmen, which means everything stays local, precise, and made by people who really know what they're doing. Despite this, or perhaps in no small part thanks to this, the price is set at $13,000 or about 22,000 Australian dollars including import tax. It's certainly not a small investment, and this is likely not your first or even fifth luxury watch. But again, Looking at Blancpain and its 50 fathoms tourbillon dive watch, that's a cool 262,000 Australian dollars. So if you want a cheaper tourbillon watch, you have to direct your gaze to our friends in China and towards a brand with slightly less pedigree, if that's not important to you. So what do you think? Is this on your radar now for a purchase, or did you at least enjoy Yema's approach to this release? Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.